So two twin brothers, Josh and Jeff, made both regular payments into a savings account at 6%, compounded semi-annually until they were 65. Josh started making yearly payments of $500 when he was 30. Jeff did not start, he was 50, and then made annual deposits of $3,000. What's the future value of each investment? So we've got Josh. We'll do that first. NI, PV, PMT. Could you use the compound interest formula for this one? And the answer is no, because there are regular contributions, right? Made regular payments into the savings. Hello? We're going over the AC, okay? That was done over the weekend, so you got an extra day even to do this. So compounding is semi-annually. How many times a year is that? 2. And Josh started to make yearly payments of $500. So the payments in this case will be 1. Sorry, you can't see that. The payments here is 1, okay? Because there is a payment amount. So the future value is what we're going to find out. The payment is $500 yearly, okay? Present value, it doesn't tell us that we have an amount to start with. So it's just 0. Present value is 6. Interest is 6. And N would be from 30 to 65, so that's 35 years, right? So we can make a little note here. This one is a 35-year. So we multiply that by PY, which is 1. So N is just 35. If you calculate this, you get $56,796.57. Some of this money is what you put in, and some of it is what the interest portion that was added to it. Always remember that. So for Jeff, we do the same thing. NI compounding stays the same. It's told, we are told right off the bat here. We are making annual deposits, so the payment here is 1 time a year. Future value, we'll find out. The deposits are $3,000, and it's negative because it's leaving you. The present value, we're not told that we start with an amount, so it's 0. Interest is still 6, and this would be what? Jeff did not start till he was 50, so how many years are we talking about there? 15 years. So this would be 15 times whatever is in my PY, which is 1. So this is 15. Okay. You solve for this, you get 10,308 and 50 cents. 70,000, right? Sorry, my 7 looked like a 1. Sorry. I was already wondering, like, this can't be. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. And what's the future value? That's the future value for each. So, and we clearly indicate which one is which. If it's the exam, make sure you make a statement, right? You add a statement, or you label clearly. Okay. In this case, I have labeled it, and I circled the answers for both of them. So how do we mark this? I will change this mark here is going to be different. For Josh, I will give you 2 marks already. And I will also give you 2 marks for Jeff, because you had to make several changes. The payment is different, and your N is also different, so I'll make this a 2 and 2. If you entered 1 wrong item, you go -1 already. And if only 1 mistake is made, then whatever your future value is, we honor that, okay? So let's say you put 2 in for PY, then obviously this would be 70. That's what I would expect to see. And I don't know what your future value is, to be honest, but it would probably be more, okay? And so that is A. For B, which brother had the higher rate of return? Let's do that down here. Okay. what is rate of return? Okay, if you don't have this on your study sheet, one last, in general, when it's investing, it's the interest earned, interest or earnings. Okay, either one, divided by principal or what you invested, right? How much have you put in from your own money? And then we multiply that by 100. Now, this is where you have to be careful. Sometimes it's just a number you got to plug in. Sometimes you may have to subtract things to figure it out. Okay? So you have to kind of, it's very much dependent on the situation. In this case, the interest earned, I can just go like this. 1 to 35. Okay, that's like my top entry, divided by, how much have you put in, principal wise? You've put in N payments of $500. So this would be 35 times 500, and then we multiply that by 100 to get our answer. The sum of interest is, let me just bring this up a bit. Sum of interest is 39,796, and no, sorry. Is that correct? I think so, yeah. 96.57? 39,296? You are right. As again, 0.57. That's what I got. Okay. Over 35 times 500 is 17,500. We multiply that by 100. So the rate of return for Josh is 224.55%. This is like a good test to see who did better. So this is Josh. And then for Jeff, we're going to do that again. Rate of return, sum of interest. This is what? From 1 to 15 in this case, because N is 15. Divided by, in this case, there were 15 payments of $3,000 were made, and that gets multiplied by 100. And so sum of interest would be 25,308.50 over 45,000 times 100. And that gives you 56.24%. Okay, this is Jeff. So I will give you 1 mark for each. You know what? Let's do 1.5 for each, because you doing the sum of interest, I would say, is half, and then figuring out the principal is half, and then actually stating it as a percentage would be another half. Okay. So on this page, we are out of 7 for this particular page. Okay. And we'll do the back side. Mm-hmm.
For the one,
Should be 1 to 15, yeah. For Jeff,
yeah,
because N is 15, right?
I got
4,000?
4,218.
You got to be careful, okay? This function is always based on what is in your TVM solver at the time. What is in your TVM solver right now? Is it still Josh's stuff? So it's saying you're saying from 1 to 15 in Josh's investment. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to go back to your TVM solver, redo this, and then run that one. Or else you're finding like from 1 to 15, like the interest earned there from the 1st to the 15th payment period. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, I like that question actually, because I don't think of mentioning those things all the time. Backside, there's a breakdown of a portfolio. What is a portfolio? Many investments, right? You're diversifying and you're trying to figure out how much have you made in each sometimes, or how much is it combined. Calculate the rate of return after 10 years. So we've got a GIC. Let's do the GIC first. This one you could use your compound interest formula if you wanted to, because there are no regular contributions. So present value, payment. Even if you didn't do this, I'm now using it as a teaching tool as well, okay? So this is kind of like my lesson as well. So for the GIC, it's a 10-year, so we know that this is going to be 10 times whatever is in PY, so we'll figure that out in a bit. 8.7% compounded annually. This means that CY is equal to 1. So CY is 1. There are no regular payments. In GIC, you cannot make contributions. You're locking the amount. So another way to verify that this is actually the case, we'll figure out our future value. And 25,000 is what we're putting in under that contract, okay? And so your future value is 57,575 and 20 cents. I forgot one more thing here. It should have been 10 times 1 up here, which is just 10. And nothing really changes there, so if you missed it, you would have been all right. That's the GIC. Then we're going to do the CSB, Canadian Savings Bond. There are no more bonds in Canada, but the idea still remains, right, that you can figure out how much that investment grows if I give you the interest rate. What's that? That's correct. Simple interest. See, I can't talk and think at the same time. But this is a very good point. This is simple interest, so we cannot use this, okay? This is simple. So if you wrote this whole thing down, I think it's still good because it's simple interest. So 8 years ago, how do we use this one? You want to use this one, I equals PRT. Or you can use this one. Okay. Let's try this one here. If we want to find the interest, the principal is $10,000. The rate is 0.064, okay? And its time is 8 years. And it's kind of interesting, 8 years ago, right? It's like this. You did this 8 years ago, so yes, but the idea is still that 8 years went by for this. So the interest here is 5,120, like this. Important. You can also note how much money do you actually have. A is equal to principal plus any interest you've earned. So technically you have 10,000 plus the 5,120. So if it asks for how much money do you have, this is what you would put down, okay? So both of these are important to us. And deposits $2,500 at the end of every year for 10 years in a savings account. So I don't know, I'm going to call this savings. Okay, so we'll do that. NI, PV, PMT, future value, PY. Okay. It says compounded annually. It says that the payments, the deposits are made at the end of every year, so it's yearly. Future value to be determined. Payment is $2,500 every year. Present value is 0, and interest rate is 4.9, and it's 10 years, so 10 times 1 is just 10. You do the solving here, and this one comes out to be $31,298.35. Okay. Also important to us. So let's do some mark breakdown here for now. I'll give you 2 marks for figuring out the GIC. I will also give you 2 marks for using simple interest to calculate either the I or the total amount. Remember, what's our ultimate goal here? The rate of return. That's our ultimate goal here. And then I'll give you 2 marks for figuring out the savings, whatever you called it, where you make $2,500 deposits to give you $31,298.35. Yeah. If I'm gonna post this, the video? Yeah, I can. Just give me a like and a thumbs up, and subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. Full rate of return. What do you need? You need the interest every time, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna figure out the interest that we got here. And I'm not gonna use the sum of interest because I'm gonna go back everywhere. So in this case, the interest is the future value minus N times PMT. That's, if you're making payments, that's the way to do it here. So it's 31,298.35 minus, you made 10 payments of 2,500. So for this one, it's 31,298.35 minus 25,000, right? So you're subtracting these two. This is how much you've put in, and this is how much is in your account. So if you subtract them, then you have the interest earned. So you earned $6,298.35. I'm gonna highlight that one, okay? This is the interest you've earned with this account right here. And the simple interest, if you use this formula, that is already the interest earned for that Canadian savings bond, which is simple interest. So earnings, and I gotta find the earnings for this one. Where am I gonna do that? Right here. Interest is present value, future value, sorry, 575.20 minus what you started with. And there you earned $32,575.20. I'm also going to highlight that part. So you've earned everywhere. You've earned some money there. And so now we're ready for a rate of return. And I'm going to attempt to make sure we can see all those highlighted numbers. So rate of return, here we go. You add the 5120. You add the 32,575.20 cents. And you add the 6298.35. All of that divided by, and now you need to be careful, you need to put all the money that you've put in from your own, you need to put that down here. Let's make sure we put them, like we kind of pair them up. For the simple interest example, we've put in what? $10,000, right? So I'm going to put the 10,000 in here. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to give that an orange. I'm going to give that orange. And you can also highlight that up here, right? That's how much you've put in. That's that number right there. Plus, if we go over to the GIC, you've put in 25,000. That's all you've done. Okay, so give that also orange. I'm gonna go to my TVM solver there. Give that an orange color, and then you see that it's there. Plus, this last one here, the savings. I'm gonna just use my answer here. This already gave me 25,000 as well. There it is. So portfolios, obviously this is very tedious. You gotta be very careful with your numbers. I'm gonna clean this up and then multiply it by 100 and then get my total rate of return. So if I add up the tops here, you get 43,993.55 divided by 60,000. All of that by 100. This 25 and 25 is 50 plus 10 is 60,000. Okay, we're doing good. There it is. 73.32% is your rate of return, which you can't see. I will just circle that. You only get, you know what, this was a lot of work. If you did your previous work, then this is not as difficult if you figured out the interest elsewhere. So I will give you 1 mark for the rate of return. So the rate of return gets 1 mark. But here's where I'm going to give you marks for the other parts, okay? Every time you figured out the interest, like separately, you get a mark. So for this, and you get a mark for figuring out the interest on the very first GIC. I will not give you marks for this one, because this one, I already gave you the 2 marks to do the calculation there. So what is this out of this backside? So you ready? You got to follow here. I'm going to add it up with you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the actual rate of return. I know it says 5 marks at the top, but this is a lot of work. Lots and lots of work. So 9 and 7 makes this out of 16 total. Make sure your name and last name is on there.